Good evening, I am Amadin Ogbewe. Now tonight the topic is a rather interesting and provoking one, so to speak. It's an issue of the mind, the body, the spirit. I'm talking about the issue of Kung Fu, Tai Chi, martial arts as they call them. We're starting to see that Nigeria and China are having deeper relationships, bilateral relationships and exchange. This has led to also an exchange of culture where we see the West African giant and the Asian giant exchanging these cultures, ideas, and a way of life, so to speak. One of these happening right here in the country is the teaching of Kung Fu and martial arts, where students get to be able to defend themselves and have a broader way of life, thinking and experiencing, so to speak. It also has an influence on the sports of Nigeria, where Nigeria now begins to export persons who are versed in the art of Kung Fu. Now, tonight, my guest is Sifu Patrick Light. He trained at the Shaolin Temple in China. He saw firsthand and he learned firsthand from the masters, and he's also a master himself. He has trained loads of Nigerians, students, children, teenagers, adults of all ages, of all walks of life. He joins me now tonight to tell me about what really the art is about, what it means for Nigerians to be able to learn to defend themselves and also to broaden their way of life. He joins me now to do some justice to the topic of Kung Fu and teaching in Nigeria. Sifu Patrick Light, welcome to Self Talk.
Thank you.
It's good to have you. You wear many hats, like I said in my introduction. You're a Wushu Kung Fu coach, you're in physiotherapy, culture, arts and culture, even some aspects of ministerial work. But that being said, how did you get to where you are now, being a martial arts artist?
Yeah, it all started when I was in primary school, right back in Cross River State. So, schooling from a primary school to secondary school, there's this Chinese man that came to Cross River through this aluminium company of 18. It was a company in Cross River State. So then we're like, okay, we just joined the act. He just introduced the act, Kung Fu. So we're just using it to catch fun. I never know he to take me to this level. So then extended to my secondary school. Over there in my school, it was inculcated there. So I was good to a point where at the time I get to a level where I've been known. Do you understand? So,
as a student?
As a student, yeah. And that prevented me from not joining court after graduating from secondary school to the higher institution. Though I later drop out before I further my education. So then, when I left Cross River State to Abuja, coming to see an elder brother. So it is there. I think I've already looking at it as the art is not going to fetch me anything, and I abandoned it just to face any other elder career. Then I joined. I was managing a business center there back then, very young. So there was a day I was just strolling and I saw somebody demonstrating and like showing off. Then people were like spreading money. I just stood quiet. Though I don't like exposing myself when it comes to these acts. So I was like asking me a question. Did you really study this thing? Really? He said yes, like kind of challenge. I said, okay. Are you challenging me? No, it was right. Like I'm challenging anybody that can come and beat me or defeat me. I was like, this is not the rating I studied because we don't show up. Then it was just a secret kind of act. All right. I said, okay, give me a day, I'll come. I can't do it here. He said, no, he's there. Well, I just have to try it. I said, if you give me 1 point, I then know you are good. Then my friends don't know. Some of my brothers I met in Abuja don't know that I am into such art, and then my girlfriend as well. So don't try anything stupid. This guy will do that. I said, let's go. So when I get there, I actually beat him hands down. He now saw me and like, I'm sorry, I just came to Abuja. I'm busy in Kaduna. I just came to Abuja to see if I can raise some money. So my brother that used to teach me the act. I said, oh, so this is how you people raise money with this act, but it's a discipline act. It's not exposed. Right then, the students, there are about 30 or 15 of them. They're like, okay, why not develop the act? All those feel reluctance, this religion, church of a thing, born again. That's okay. After service, every Sunday we can be doing some practice. So it occurred to me that this act is needed in the sport. I have to push forward. I went to the sport council, sport ministry. They say, yes, Wushu is being recognized, but yet to be inaugurated. Okay, directed me to the sport council. When I went to sport council, and we're like, okay, we needed this act. I said, okay, can you please show us how many students or how many athletes you have? Or like, okay, I have like, then I have already grown the athletes up to 50 students, both the one that senior me and the young ones.
Where did you get these people?
Then I was staying in Jabi. So whenever they see us, just like every evening, those who love football go to play football. Those who go to other game go. So I have a place where I train with my boys. So when people come, people pass and some guys pass. So we like this game for self-defense, and so we want to come in and practice. So I was just giving them as a platter of gold. I'm not like collecting money. I was just using it as fun. Not until we get to the sport council and then being inaugurated. So that is the beginning of it. Then, how do I find myself in China? Okay, it keeps going that way until the Nigerian Federation comes in. The Nigerian Wushu Kung Fu Federation. Then Nigeria now accepted the act into National Sport Festival, and then we first go our first competition, which is 2011 Port Harcourt Deriba. We won 3 medals, and that is how we started growing. It was not easy there, though we are not employed. I'm not employed, but I like, okay, I love this act. Let it go viral in Nigeria. So one day, this was not even really fetching me anything. I stopped. At the time I break, I face the ministry, singing from one church to another. Well. This man, Dr. Mike Enedua, who is the chairman of FCT Wushu Kung Fu Association today, now try that the Chinese people were looking for the person that is doing this art. They're like, there's only one guy that who knows how to do it very well. Though Nigerians, they will, like, some people want to manipulate, and they went and showed the uniform and went there and said, okay, give us a demonstration about this act. No way. So they start searching, looking for me until I was found through one of my boys that they know where he was selling at Beggar. They said, okay, we are looking for your coach. And I said, this is my coach number. So when they called me, I was like, please to hell with you people, Nigerians, people are not serious. Let me just face life and go ahead. It's like, Patrick, please come. Everything is done. You're going to China. I said, Dr. Mike, please forget about this. They keep putting pressure on me. 2 days later, behold, it was really real. That is a scholarship they are giving me. So though I went there, I perform. They say, yeah, this is the right person that we need. So I pick one other guy like that called Hendrix, is very good, from Edo. So I went with him in China. We are studying in Shaolin Temple, just a year, 6 to 1 year, thereabouts. And over there we went for competitions and then we won 3 medals. I won 3 medals, the other guy won 3 medals.
Competition against who?
Competitions against, there is a competition, national, is it national? Okay, international Wushu competition in China. It's held every every 1 year interval. And we happen to be the first Nigerians and first Africans to attend that competition. And they were shocked that we can even perform and win a medal. Not to talk of 2 or 3. So the Chinese were like, this is your first time of coming here, representing your country. Yes, when we studied in China, we did it home and back home here, coming to China to maybe polish the act we have already. Now, we won. So I think our name came to Nigeria all over during Buhari time, and we were like, we should come back and be welcome and celebrated. You know, our pattern in Nigeria is unfortunate. Coming back, we find ourselves frustrated. Unlike when Chukwumerize won, son of Chukwumerize won bronze, and the whole Nigeria celebrated it. But we won more than 2 bronze or 3 bronze, silver, 2 bronze, and because maybe we don't have somebody up there that can pronounce our name more. But when we came here, if we remember when Buhari said that he want to pay athletes 20,000 naira, when some athletes were lodged in the hotel and football, female athletes, something, footballers like that, that it was like, okay, what he has to give is 20,000 naira. Our names was included, so later it was just omitted because how can you give us 20,000 naira?
20,000 naira, 20,000
as compensation, not dollars, 20,000 naira.
That's interesting.
No, sorry, you saying it on air, but it's really frustrating. I was living in, so I told you I was living in Katangwe. Through my chairman, he made an effort for me to have a comfortable place to stay. But later it was revoked forcefully, and I was like, some say go to Henbelembe, some say go to radio. The other my colleague Hendrix went to China, shout and cry for where is Mr. Patrick? I say I don't want to go to any television. I think this is my second place of interview. All this while they invite me, I refuse. Some of them met me at my training place to make some interview. Sometimes I attend, sometimes I say no. It's of no use because I don't think if God did not ask somebody to help you, you cannot be helping Nigeria. You better just struggle on your own.
Well, I'm honored that you accepted our invitation.
Yeah.
You know, I really want to hear about the struggles and what has kept you going, because you said earlier before that you left it, you weren't doing it anymore. We are back now, I believe.
Yeah.
I see you at events. I see you
performing
with your students and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before we head back in there, I just want to quickly circle back a little. In China, did you learn more? You know, I know you said you learned while in school earlier and you knew about the art. But when you got there, was there an increase? Did the level change? You know, what really did you get in China?
Fine. In China, you know, when you get to China to study, you first study their language in order to blend with the studies. Yes, when I got to China, it's like, okay, I'm starting afresh again. It became polishing. You need to adapt. It was really tedious. training from mountains, jumping from one place to another, taking you traveling from one province to another province. It's really really high experiences. It was broadened, updated.
Oh.
Yes. I learned new things there, and then new art. That is where I learned the Tai Chi you see us come to demonstrate that day.
Oh.
And that's where I also learned the physiotherapies. And that's where I also learned, I teach ballet as well. So I really gained a lot when I traveled to China.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So coming back, you've been speaking about your challenges.
Yeah.
At what point did you, will I say to an extent, if not overcome, at least learn to manage them and keep
going?
Yes, because you're still going till now. So something must have happened along the line.
Yes. When I discovered that it is not something you need to depend on someone to push, because it is something that I have passion for. And looking at the society we come from today, this act has to be taught or inculcated to the upcoming kids. So I shifted. I said, okay, let me leave the sport council. Though we just came back from a national sport festival, Delta. We also won about 6 medals. I'm not employed there, but I keep pushing the acts. And the 6 medals we have won, we've not yet stipulated. What keeps me going is the passion I have for the acts. And I still see some kids or guys that still meet me, please, we still need this act. So they keep pushing me. Then another person that keep encouraging me is my chairman. I should have introduced him to you. He was standing behind when you people were videoing me and snapping. Yes, all those athletes were my students. So he's the only thing that kept me going. Just the passion and the students. If I leave them, what else? So I keep pushing.
Let's talk about your students. When you say students, people might think automatically children or middle-aged, teenagers and so on. But it seems as though you have a wide array of students.
Yes.
Tell us about them. And I really like to hear about the very younger ones and how that's going.
Yes, I have them at the age of from age 6, 7, from 5, 7 in schools that I teach. Okay.
What do you teach exactly?
I teach them the Tai Chi. Okay. The Wushu. We start from the Wushu before we get to the Tai Chi.
Is all of this under Kung Fu?
Under Kung Fu, yes. Okay. Teach them the benefits of the arts.
Which are?
The benefits of the Kung Fu. And telling them how, actually, these acts broaden your memory and keep them alert, become very smart in learning, and as they grow, it's a disciplined act. It's helped them to be disciplined, because if you're not disciplined, you cannot study martial art generally. You cannot do martial art generally because it's really something difficult. It's not like football, you just walk in and then they fix you and you start playing. So I train them from the lower basics, how to know how to block themselves, how to protect themselves, then grow from stages to stages. That is how I bring them. So when we shift to adults like 18, 20 years or 15 or 10 to 20 upward, we still also start from the basics, flexibility, and to a point where you can now walk on the streets majestically, defend yourself.
Right, you've raised an interesting part here, that aspect. When people hear Tai Chi, they hear Kung Fu, they remember these old Chinese movies, Snake in the Monkey
Shadows,
and so on and so forth. So, you see people making the moves and all that, and a lot of people see it as fantasy or fiction, where those things don't work in real life. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Can you really defend yourself with the things you teach?
100%. 100%. You see, sometimes we became afraid to defend ourselves because the society. I have a license. Yeah, some of my students have license.
You need a license?
I have a license.
Is this something you need,
Government give us license.
All right.
Yeah. When you go for competition,
all right,
the federation offer you a license.
All right.
Yeah, for your safety and protection. Yes, you can defend yourself 100%. For example, I'm just working with that weapon. I don't supposed to go with a weapon normally. And you come with a knife or a gun or a bottle or the wood. I should know the dimension where you want to strike. That's the first thing that comes to our mind. Because we don't have different. The only thing that has one direction is gun. You must lift it to points. That's one. It's there. But for knife, we have horizontal, vertical striking. So this is very simple for you to defend it. Then 2-3 persons are coming to attack you. Immediately, your spirit, soul, body adjusted. Now, okay, I'm in a death track now. So I need to defend myself. That is how we make conclusions immediately. That's why I earlier said that we have fasts. They're just like detectives.
This is after years of training.
Yes, after years of training. You graduate from, okay, we will never talk to you, I never tell you about what we talk about. The black bed, the white bed, the brown bed, the red bed, the orange bed. These are stages you have reached graduation. You register, you go for the test, you pass that one, you go to the, so like now, I am 6 down black belts. And let me say, last of recent, I just made on 7 down black belts.
No, is that's considerably high?
That's like a height, the height I've gone in the art.
Oh. So I have no training. What belt am I?
0 belt.
Alright, I guess that's something we're working. But back to the defense, you were speaking about how
to defend yourself.
Yeah, you spoke about how you can sense that you're in a death trap and you react.
Yes, you can sense. You can sense. Like before, if not that you have already told me that you are going to call me, we've met, and then this guy now just called me, so please, somebody, I want to pick you for something. Before he finished his talk, I have 2-3 things in my mind. In case something happens, what do? So let's go. So if I'm entering a vehicle, there was a day I was going to beggar. I entered one chance. And that day, I don't know how it happened. And that day, this a church gave me money to go and buy instruments. And I was with the money. As soon as I get in, I said, okay, I've entered these people's hand. Let's see how we act the drama today. I just calculated the first person I know they can turn to point me gun is the one in front. And this one. I'm at the door. What they often do is when they discover that you're giving them a headache, they open the door and push you out. I said, okay, the next thing I will do is that I'll collect this person gun. And then this person will suffer in my hand.
Isn't that risky, collecting the gun?
Yeah, it's risky, but it takes risk to make a life. You get that?
All right.
You cannot, life is full of risks. Even the food we eat is risky. So, how do you collect a gun? If I am not alert, I'm very relaxed, you can point me that gun. But if I'm already calculated, seated, before you lift the gun, I will remove it from your hand. That is what I want to do, because before you rest your hand, first of all, before you shoot gun, you must rest the hand and then press the trigger. So stretching your hand is where I'm stretching my hand and picking the gun from you in a second. So why am I waiting for you? So at a close range. The only time I may be submissive to you is when you are in a distance and then point the gun. I will be submissive. But the other action, I reserve it for myself.
Right. But I like to point out to our viewers that this is a professional speaking.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't get any ideas. But okay, I guess you were able to get out of that situation.
Yes, when they notice They're also smart. The other one now said something. Say, please, did you, they were trying to distract me. Did you watch the ball yesterday? This other one in front say, guy, I watched this ball. They are trying to like bring me into their discussion. I pretend not to hear. You see, guy, then the next one was like talking about money. The next thing I do, okay, what did they tell us to do in Shaolin Temple? They say that when an action comes like that, think of one thing to do immediately. I pick a phone. I say, guys, how are you? I just pretend that I make a call. I say, you saw the car I entered. I was just answering within myself. We are getting to toll gates. Along, I'm getting close to going to area 1. So please, people should keep coming. I keep talking. Say, okay, yes. I mentioned the car. I mentioned the number. They say, okay, we are close. I was okay, are you people close? They say, yes. I said, no problem. Nobody's talking to me. I'm not talking to anybody. I just off the phone. Within a second, the driver said, we are not going to that area again. I said, you will go. The one in front drop. The other one, the other side drop. I said, driver, you will take me to that area 1, whether you like it or not. You see, is it by force? I said, it's by force. You will take me to that area 1. All of them drop. So he took me to area 1 with anger and insult. He did not receive any money. He didn't collect money from me. Because he get out of my car, you now move. So I say, you now for the Mugu. I am not the Mugu. So this is how I managed to get out of this trap. Because if I entertain a little fear, they will get the money and they will push me down.
All right. Yeah, I think I can begin to see the benefits of Tai Chi and Kung Fu. But let's quickly talk about the cultural aspect of this. You know, I see you performing. It's as though we've talked about defense. But something that I've noticed about China is things tend to somehow involve culture, involve, way of life, so to speak. It's not always just about defending yourself or fighting or so. So tell us about that cultural aspects, and how it blends with your own Nigerian upbringing.
Okay, the culture, you see, when we talk about culture, we talk about what people practice in their own region or a religion, right? So what we talk about culture is really when Chinese people are doing this art, they take it so serious and it's discipline. That is why they want the whole world to like embrace this act. You talk about how do you inculcate it with our own upbringing in Nigerian. Yes, it is really difficult. I remember before I traveled to China, coming back, some pastors that used to invite me to minister in their churches, they're like, I've gone to join occult and that kind of a thing. But I tell you, this culture, it is personal. And when you get to Shaolin Temple, they tell you, are you a Christian, a Muslim, an Hindus, or whatever? Practice your religion. It does not stop you. So it is their culture, actually. But inside them, they will still have hidden Christians, and the Hindus. So when we reach there, when we sit down doing meditation, you pray according to what you believe or how you are brought up in your own country. So it was really a hard thing for you to like come up in Nigeria and say, okay, I'm doing martial arts, Kung Fu, where everybody look at it that these people worship one goddess or one thing or the other, and that the spiritual aspect of it is wrong. But I want to let you understand that it is really not that wrong. Kung Fu originated from heaven. Yes, martial art originated from heaven. When you talk about the angels coming down to fight, and is it not sword they use? It's sword.
And swords are part of Tai Chi and Kung Fu.
Yes, they use sword. Wushu, Tai Chi, everything, whatever you talk about, Taekwondo, Karate, and all this is martial art we talk about here. Is a culture to one country or the other. Taekwondo originated from Korea, and Karate, Japan, thereabout. Then this Wushu is coming from China. Wushu is a name comprises of all the arts, all the styles in Kung Fu. Tai Chi is a style in Kung Fu. So when you talk about the culture, you embrace another person's culture to your own culture, you merge it together and move forward. It's really not easy. But I enjoy their culture because it's discipline.
All right, it's been a very interesting hearing your journey. We've almost run out of time now. I hope sometime we can have a broader conversation. But I'd like to end on this note. What can you really say about what you think should change? Speaking to you, I can see a professional. I can see someone who's versed in what they are about. It's not just something on the surface level. But we want to start to perhaps see appreciation or recognition from the country, from the sporting and ministry and stakeholders and so on. So what would be your advice to all stakeholders? I'll separate them. To the government, what's your advice to them on how they should inculcate and perhaps acknowledge what you do? On the other part, what's your advice to people who want to learn? Someone who's just out there who's seeing you and they want to be like you.
Okay, in the area of government, I want to say shortly that government, they are trying now, but when we talk of it's already in the sports, National Sport Festival and youth game. But they should do better than this. Because if we look at the footballers, they are benefiting well if they go out of Nigeria. If I want to find my way to get out of Nigeria, I'll get out of Nigeria because we go to competitions, we come back, we are not paid. So government should do something about it. When I win a medal there, as they are handing over, as they are hanging the medal on my neck, there is an envelope following me. But here we'll come back and it will take sometimes a year, 2 years before they pay us. Sometimes 6, 7 months. Sorry to say, it might be our system. So government should really work hard. And for those who really wish to do these acts, it's not a bad thing for you to practice these acts. Tai Chi is like yoga. So many people rush to yoga. It makes you flexible. It's really give you confidence wherever you go. When you study to an extent, it disciplines you. You cannot be a flirt while you do these acts. You cannot be a smoker, a drunkard while you do these acts. Because you talk about the spiritual aspect of it, you need to be disciplined. I mean, total discipline. Yes, I know discipline is something we battle both Christians and every other culture. You talk about the culture. Sorry to come back to that culture. Chinese people, before you do this martial act, you see, as a Christian, they say, thou shalt not fornicate, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt love your neighbor as yourself, and so on. It's the same thing in the act. So they are married. The only difference is that they worship a different thing. So if you are to come to study this martial act, I encourage you to study Kung Fu, Wushu, or any other act as general, martial art general, if you want to, for self-defense, because the world we find ourselves today is slippery. It's really slippery because you don't know where you can find yourself. Don't say because God is there, I'm protected. We still serve God. Some people are kidnapped. Some people, since God helped them to come out of it. Some do not come out of it. So these acts give you boldness. After spiritual boldness, physical boldness, you still have confidence that I can at least defend myself from one person or two persons and get away from it. So that is the advice. Come and study martial arts, study Kung Fu, study Karate, Taekwondo, whichever one you choose. But I tell you, Kung Fu is the mother of all martial arts.
All right, that's fair enough. I think I'm sold. After this, perhaps my viewers should be prepared. Hopefully, I'll begin the journey. What's the bottom belt? The belt that you start with?
You start with white belt.
White belt.
Yes.
White belt. Okay. Hopefully, that's my target before the end of the year. Thank you so much for coming. I also appreciate what you said about Kung Fu or learning Kung Fu at the Shaolin Temple took you away from vices,
Yes.
cultism, and all that. So thank you so much for that. I don't know. What want to sign out now? I don't know if you can indulge us and sign us out with a little bit of Chinese, whatever it is. Bye or see you later. Just take a look at the camera and tell them.
Okay. Let me say, xie Tai Jie.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.